Thanks for staying with us once again. Let's start off the news with a story that President Bola Tinubu has ordered a stepped-up search and rescue mission for passengers of the helicopter that crashed into the Atlantic Ocean near Bonny Finima, Port Harcourt on Thursday. The helicopter, operated by East Winds Aviation and registered as 5NBQG, was contracted by NNPC Limited to transport contract staff to the FPSO-NUIMS Antan facility. The president called on military personnel in the region to join the rescue efforts, offering support to the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and other relevant agencies involved. Expressing his condolences to the NNPC's board and staff, as well as the families of those who lost their lives, Tinubu prayed for the repose of the 3 victims and comfort for their grieving families. Moving on now to our next news. Following severe flooding that submerged 9 out of 21 local government areas in Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, residents and the state government are urgently calling for intervention to address the crisis. The floods caused by continuous heavy rainfall and overflowing major rivers have forced many residents out of their homes, with property worth millions in naira destroyed. Our correspondent Joshua Imarayi visited the affected areas to assess the situation and filed this report.
Amina Fatai, a resident of Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, recounts the nightmare that has befallen her family due to the severe flooding that has once again submerged the community.
Like 1 week ago, now we sleep for inside in the night. You just see and say, don't bust out. Before we pack our load, all our load don't spoil.
Yusuf Abdullahi, a pensioner residing in Kogi State, has had to defy the floodwater at all costs to get to his home. For more than 25 years, this had been his home, but in the last 12 years, the fear of flooding has been a source of concern.
The first experience we had was in 2012. That came unannounced, and almost half of the estate here was submerged. And since that, at intervals, it comes. Sometimes we don't park, sometimes we park.
It seems that each time the floods come, government agencies advise residents like him to move to designated internally displaced persons camp, a decision which is not easy to bear.
Where we are currently is what used to be the banks of River Niger. This place used to be farmlands to some of the Kogi residents whose homes have been affected by the flooding. Unfortunately, the situation now here is dire as his place has been sacked by the flooding.
At the internally displaced persons camp located at St. Luke's Primary School at Dankolo in Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State, people like Hawa Abib and Aliu Abdul Malik have sought refuge.
As flood packers come here, they sleep, no food, no mattress, no many things, but we thank God for our governor. He helped us yesterday, and he helped us since day before yesterday.
This is the place that we share our food yesterday, where they give us.
How long did they give you mosquito?
Top, we manage it like that. Even now, if you check around, mosquitoes, they are flying about.
After assessing the situation, we visited Kingsley Farm with the Commissioner of Information for Kogi State to get his perspective on the ongoing crisis.
Going by the devastating situation in the state, it is already snowballing into a humanitarian crisis. And you could see that over 1 million people have been displaced already. The number of IDP camps we could put up right now definitely is not enough to cope with the massive number of people that are displaced by the flood. So it is quite challenging.
The Commissioner, however, urged the federal government, corporate organizations, international organizations, and private individuals to step in and provide much-needed relief during this difficult time. In Lokoja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Now we're being joined by our correspondent Joshua Imarayi, who is in Kogi State, monitoring the situation this morning. Thank you once again for joining us right on time, Joshua. Can you quickly give us an update right from this morning? What's the latest situation?
Well, good morning, Joe Hanson. I am currently on the bank of the River Niger here in Dankolo community. It should be noteworthy that it rained yesterday, but it was in drizzles. But on getting here this morning, we saw a different thing. As you can see, the currents are faster than it was yesterday. This indicates an increase in the water level, and it is overflowing its bank once more, and residents has been put out of their home. However, one of the situations they decried, aside from being displaced from their home, was the case of severe cold by residents here. They are complaining bitterly that aside their house has been submerged by the flood, this place is colder than it was yesterday, indicating that the situation is becoming unbearable for them, while citing that they have nowhere else to go. And some of them, they are unwilling to visit the IDP camp because that place is not in a palatable condition. It is not conducive for so many of them, and they have just chose to stay outside their homes, sleep under mosquito nets. And now what we are seeing here is that citizens, residents here are beginning to learn to cohabit with fishes and sometimes reptiles. Just yesterday, I spoke to some of the residents here, and they told me that they killed 2 snakes in a space of few hours yesterday. It shows the situation they are in here, and it is worrisome. And they are still urging their citizens and well-meaning individuals to come to their aid and help them with relief materials.
All right, Joshua, we do understand as well that yesterday they had mentioned that there was help from the governor himself. Can you give us an update if there are further, if there was any further assistance from the government over there?
Well, yes, I spoke to the Commissioner of Information of the state yesterday, and he told me that the state is overstretched considering the
Okay, I seem to have a little connectivity issue right there. But we do get the update there. Thank you so much, Joshua Imarai, News Central correspondent, who is covering the current situation happening in Benue State. But let's still stick to this story, still staying in Benue State. Flood victims in some parts of the state have been urged to wait for a few more weeks for the water level to go down before they can return to their homes. Now, this is as some of those displaced due to the overflooding of the River Benue a few weeks ago recount their loss and damage caused by the flood. At this time, our correspondent Idong Joseph compiles this report.
About 2 weeks ago in Benue State, over 200 households were displaced following the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon into the River Benue, which also added to the heavy downpour witnessed in recent times. While many affected victims like Blessing Tezungo cannot wait for the water level to recede, some of them have begun to pick up the thread of their lives as they recount the damage caused by the flood.
It's in this fish this thing that we used to have this fish. Our men used to go to this river and catch this fish. When this flood came out now, so this flood condemned people's houses, it condemned our farm, people's farm, it damages plenty things. And this flood now is condemning our farms. You can see our pepper things. If you go that side now, they have entered water, our rice, they have damages. So now that is what this water have caused us.
I can estimate that what we have lost so far is close to 500,000, if not more, from the theft.
As they express hope of returning to their houses soon, the state government has pledged to ensure their safety and support those affected. The government, however, vowed to ensure the demolition of illegal property on the waterways.
We, as a government, we are interested in protecting lives and properties. Looking at how SEMA will assist in providing some relief materials to them and get the place fumigated, clean up the environment, make good drainages.
While many of the flood victims within the state continue to seek shelter in schools, they are hoping that the government will match its words with action and support their recovery.
Of Plateau State have challenged government at all levels to put in more efforts in ensuring that social amenities are made available to citizenry. The residents spoke with solar-powered water projects were handed over to 3 densely populated communities that have suffered what they termed inability of government to deliver her core mandate to the governed. News Central's Chizoba Nyonwe tells us more.
Water is life, yet water is scarce. That's the cry of many residents of Plateau State within the Kangan Phase 2 and Gwanrogo and Dogonduse areas of Jos South and Jos North local government areas of the state. For these residents in these densely populated areas, government has failed in her responsibility of providing these basic amenities of water, good roads and housing, of which water remains top on the list due to its importance, which cannot be overemphasized.
Let us have water, let us have light, let us have good road. Let our people enjoy their staying, even in the rural areas.
One of the things we are expecting from government is to provide social amenities like such as water. So them not being able to do their own part, which they promise, is a kind of, well, I can call it a failure on their own part.
That was an expression of joy as Little Miss Tourism on the Plateau and other community members joined at the unveiling of over 25,000 liters of solar-powered water reticulated in 5 different places within each of the benefiting communities.
I'm so excited and happy because everybody is now happy that they have gotten clean water to drink.
We thank TASTE for this noble deed, bringing life to our school's need. Your kindness we humbly adore. May Allah bless forevermore.
With this clean water, at least it will reduce some of this cholera and the malaria.
And you can do your daily activities without even being scared that, oh, I have to manage water, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that because of the lack of water.
For the donor agency, it is not just a way of improving society, but also improving humanity.
Many communities get water from very unsafe sources, and so that those sources harbour very serious diseases like cholera and typhoid and other diseases, waterborne diseases. So our desire is to be able to eradicate that, and by bringing clean drinking water, that's what we're hoping to achieve.
Just as the availability and provision of this water is very necessary, sustainability of this same project is also as important to stand the test of time. From Angwanrogo area of Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Vice President Kashim Shettima will no longer attend the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit Chogun in Samoa following an incident involving his aircraft. According to a statement from presidential media advisor Bayo Nanuga, the vice president's plane was struck by a foreign object during a stopover at JFK Airport in New York, prompting immediate changes to travel plans. In response, President Bola Tinubu has appointed a ministerial delegation led by Minister of Environment Balarabe Lawal to represent Nigeria at the summit. Shettima was initially set to join King Charles and leaders from 56 Commonwealth nations at the summit, scheduled from October 21 to 26 in Apia, Samoa. The aircraft's repair is reportedly underway. Before we go on a break, let's also tell you that we have more stories, especially with government set to prosecute 9 for false information. Get that story here after the break. Welcome back. The federal government has filed a 6-count charge against 9 individuals accused of spreading false information regarding the rumored impeachment of Senate President Godswill Akpabio, filed by Deputy Director of Public Prosecution A.A. Yusuf on October 21 at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The charges relate to the alleged publication on October 16 claiming that the Department of State Services had surrounded the National Assembly to facilitate Akpabio's impeachment. The defendants include the Incorporated Trustee of Order Paper, its founder and executive director, Oke Epia, and head of operations, Tony Okeke Ofodile. Also named are Edna Bill Uleto, Elizabeth Atime, Regina Udo, Leah Twaki, Idonwisit Joseph Eko, and Edosiomi Sharon Omonego, who serve in various roles at Order Paper. The federal government contends that these individuals, through their positions, played a role in publishing the misleading report on the platform. Moving on now to our next story. The defense headquarters says that Nigeria's troops have recorded tremendous gains in its war against terrorism and crude oil theft. The director of the Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, made this known to newsmen in Abuja during the DHQ's bi-weekly update, saying that scores of terrorists have been neutralized in the last 1 week as troops continue to push on the offensive. Amadine Uyi reports.
It is the bi-weekly briefing by the Defense Headquarters of Nigeria. The director of the Defense Media Operations says that troops have recorded tremendous gains across the various theaters of operations and neutralized scores of terrorists.
Looking at the various theaters of operations, during the week under review, troops neutralized 140 terrorists and arrested 135 of them, thereby destroying their fighting capabilities and weakening their military capabilities as well. The troops also rescued 76 kidnapped hostages, which is indicative of our commitment to guarantee the safety and security of citizens, which we will continue to do more of that.
He says that gains have also been made in trying to end crude oil theft, as several perpetrators of crude oil theft were arrested, saving the nation almost 2 billion naira.
In the war against crude oil theft, as well as our effort to boost the nation's daily crude oil production, troops arrested 18 perpetrators of crude oil theft during the week. Troops also denied the theft of crude oil estimated to the sum of 1.7 billion naira during the week. Furthermore, troops diminished the terrorist capabilities by recovering over 240 assorted weapons and over 3,000 assorted ammunition across all theaters of operations during the week.
He revealed that the operation in the southeast region against the indigenous peoples of Biafra also witnessed successes, as several commanders of the proscribed group have also been arrested. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Edo State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has warned residents in the state to desist from patronizing suspects who sell stolen items to avoid facing the consequences. This was as it paraded 2 suspects at the command headquarters in Benin City, the state capital, alleging that they were caught breaking into the federal government staff school in the state and stealing aluminium roofing sheets. The suspects, who were allowed to speak, narrate their involvement in the alleged act.
We will not close our eyes to see few economic saboteurs sabotage the effort of the government. I want to use this medium to call on citizens to stop possessing or buying stolen items from criminal elements. Because if no one is aiding or abetting these criminals, they will not go out to vandalize.
I still can't come there on a very good day. I still see how they spend money, as in they spend money well. So now me come meet her as a guy, say, what's the way forward? What's the way forward? Because me, I still need to make money too. Then come tell me, say, make I not worry, make I just collect the number. Say, he go call me for work.
Then I take come. Then I will come enter inside. We come enter the school. We come climb fence enter. As we enter, we come rest like 2 hours. As we relax, then I will come start to put the zinc.
The Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement, also known as YAGA Africa, has raised concerns over the non-adherence to extant laws during the conduct of local government elections in Nigeria. The group, during a reflection meeting with some chairmen of state independent electoral commissions across the country, says that recently conducted local government elections were marred with vote allocations and ruling political party dominance. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
A gathering of election officials at the national and subnational levels. The exercise and appraisal of the recent conduct of local council elections in line with laid down provisions. They identified the uncertainty of the tenure of local government chairmen and their councillors, vote allocations, predictable outcomes and dominance of political parties as some of the fallout of the recent polls at the subnational levels.
The SECs have guaranteed tenure of 5 years, but are easily dissolved because a new face has appeared in the government house.
Of course, there's irregular and consistent elections. There is no need to belabor that. But the most topical one, which the entire country has focused on, is this trend of vote allocation, predictable outcomes, and dominance of ruling parties.
For the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, Plateau State local government elections polls deserves a pass mark as it implemented voter verification in its election day.
This is the first time that I saw a local government election that had results from polling units announced, results from the local governments announced.
However, one federal lawmaker in charge of electoral matters at the House of Representatives disregarded this assertion.
My friend here said the last election by one of the states is about the best because it was so fair. But did they use beavers?
They used
guideline. Going by guideline, that means you must use beavers. Going by the guideline, you must have announced notice a year before election. If you go by this guideline, then the issue of independence of SEC would have been secured because funding must be released a year before the election for you.
All eyes are now in Kano, Nasarawa and Zamfara as they prepare to hold their council elections. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Deputy Speaker of the Abia State House of Assembly, Austin Okezie, has denied claims that the legislature on Wednesday passed a controversial bill into law against the wishes of some members. Addressing journalists in Umuahia on Thursday, the Deputy Speaker, who is also the House Committee Chairman on Information, says the bill known as HAB 17, being for the establishment of Abia State Rural Access Road Agency, requires fine-tuning that needs to meet some criteria, hence the non-passage yet. He says, contrary to rumors that some opposition members of the House staged a walkout due to the bill, the House had a peaceful deliberation until it rose on Wednesday. Some legislators had raised concerns about the bill and what it seeks to address during Committee of the Whole House on Wednesday, leading to the decision of a Speaker to suspend deliberations and adjourn sitting till the 30th of October. Some members of the public have also raised concerns about the said bill, alleging that it might be at cross purpose with the local government autonomy.
About 19 states across the Federation are already killed in the grant project. And for any state to qualify for a scale-up of this funding, you must actually come up with this bill. You know, if the state is going to come up with a counterpart funding, and if local governments are going to benefit from this rural access construction, roads construction, I think it is only logical for local governments to also play a role. What this bill is trying to do is, states is going to bring their own part of the funding. Local governments are also required to contribute. Okay, because people are trying to say that I think that's the misconception that the bill tends to set up an agency that will want to warehouse or receive the funds of the local government from another route.
Financial experts have urged the government and all critical stakeholders to harness generational wealth transfer for the country's economic prosperity and development. Experts emphasized this at a family business summit in Lagos geared towards addressing the challenges facing generational wealth transfer in the country. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
Nigeria has seen family businesses go into extinction once the creator of the business dies. While families have been able to create and preserve wealth, the challenge has always been how to transfer family wealth from one generation to another. It is on this premise that the Family Business Summit brought together critical stakeholders to discuss the challenges of transferring wealth from one generation to another, while harnessing its potential for the country's economic growth.
It's to ensure that there is continuity and sustainability, both in terms of value creation, as I emphasized, and in terms of preserving those values going forward. So we have proper structures, professionally run businesses, and our investment strategies are also driven by professional advice and clear-cut policies.
However, experts believe generational wealth transfer should not only be seen as just a means to sustaining a family legacy, rather seen as an integral part of Nigeria's economic future.
Family businesses are very vital to the growth of the economy, contributing significantly in terms of employment and job creation as well. One of the things we have identified is also the need to ensure that not only are these businesses here in the moment, but they are there for generations.
First of all, the critical role of family businesses in our economy. We understand the importance of guiding them and ensuring that they are positioned in a way that they can stand the test of time. And so the Family Business Summit is a great opportunity for family businesses to come together, to discuss their challenges, to receive real-time advice, and to also interact with experts that can help them along in their journey.
There is no doubt that generational wealth transfer plays a crucial role in the country's economic advancement, hence the support from government and all stakeholders to address the challenges while preferring practical solutions. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
Healthcare experts, innovators, and other related experts in Africa recently convened to support Afro-Longevity, a groundbreaking initiative intended to reinforce health resilience across the continent. Experts maintain that Afro-Longevity could help lengthen lifespans and foster well-being by harnessing state-of-the-art research and development. News Central's Ibalani Omoni has more.
Medical technology hold great promise for revolutionary advances in human longevity and well-being across Africa. With proper innovation, African nations could see vast improvements in health outcomes and quality of life for their citizens. However, many African countries still lack access to basic medical technologies and health services due to high costs, infrastructure deficiencies, and shortages of trained medical professionals, preventing widespread adoption of new medical technology solutions. This has led to initiatives like Afro-Longevity.
One of the things that we are doing differently is bringing Africa back to their biodiversity. And when you talk about biodiversity, culture is number one. So you see that there are a lot of diseases that weren't prevalent let's say in the last 50 years or so.
What we're focusing on is finding the causes of age, diseases that causes aging. Diseases like cancer, diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, but not treating them in isolation of each other and saying, you know, let's group them and look at aging as a disease.
Blend them with emerging technologies and also blend them with some African values of respect for elders, intergenerational solidarity, communal lifestyle, communal living, which Africans are known for. Other things like storytelling, music, some aspects of our art and culture that sharpens our cognitive functions and also help us to stay alert both in our bodies and in our minds for longer.
Experts note that African nations need to invest more in research and development to stimulate health innovations originating from within the continent.
So I think we need to be very intentional, refrain from being reactive, and again, a lot of us spoke about policies there. There's no point having a policy without implementation. And I can tell you for free that we do have policies on this, but what is it that we are doing to implement those policies?
With Nigeria's current life expectancy in 2024 projected to be 56.05 years, representing a 0.55% increase from 2023, practitioners emphasize the need for sustainable evidence-based models.
The same Nigeria where you produce our doctors and pharmacists and nurses, those doctors, nurses are being taken away to, in quote, a better place. It's an irony. But the question is, if you know that you can't stop anybody from, it is important that we also, just like I agree with you, that we must create an enabling environment. Government has realized that, and government is doing a lot in that. It may take time, but the truth of the matter is, do we even have any option? Government must provide not only the enabling environment and also in terms of pay.
These experts believe that through appropriate policies, funding, and international partnerships, Africa's medical technology prospects hold tremendous potential to enhance and save lives across the continent for generations to come. In Lagos for News Central, I am Igbalani Omani.
World Polio Day in Nigeria's state of Borno saw a remarkable gathering of persons living with disabilities and development partners advocating for polio eradication. The event showcased the launch of UNICEF's hashtag No More Zero Dose song, which is set to resonate across the state. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes this report.
The quest to ending polio this time around in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, also saw to the participation of persons living with disability, calling on each and everyone to join the quest to keep polio at zero.
Yau ranar polio day ne, kuma duk inda ka kira polio akwai mu a ciki, saboda mu ne ɗaya daga cikin wanda polio yayi wa illa. Tun muna jarirai ana magana idan aka ji aka auna cutar sai a ce polio ne. To ba mu son abin da ya shafe mu ya shafi yara kanana ƴan uwanmu. Mu ma muna son mu tsaya shi haka.
In Borno State, according to the Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey, 21.2% of children have been reported to have not taken vaccination, and 26% in the Northeast region as of 2023. This development, according to the United Nations Children's Fund, requires sustained deliberate efforts to address.
Today is a World Polio Day. Together with the government, partners like CDC, WHO, Rotary International, among others, we are happy to be able to celebrate this day. But most importantly, also today we are launching a song called No More Zero Dose. Zero dose are regarded as children who have not received some form of routine immunization. And it's one of the reasons that we are having cases of vaccine preventable disease like diphtheria, polio, and among others. We are happy to be here, and we are encouraging parents to take their children for immunization. From the time they are born, they need to be vaccinated to be able to prevent diseases that can actually take the lives of children.
The launch of the hashtag No More Zero Dose in Borno featured performances while delivering crucial messages about the importance of immunization.
It's important that all children are fully immunized, that the access from birth and the schedules of different vaccines are there, including measles, so that they are not, they are not infected.
Reaching children who lack access to or are never reached by routine immunization services is what this multi-stakeholder campaign seeks to achieve. Government increased funding for health, and immunization was also encouraged with community engagement. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
BRICS has officially expanded its alliance, welcoming 13 new nations as partner countries, though not as full members. The announcement came during the BRICS summit held in Kazan, Russia from October 22 to 24, 2024. The new partner countries include Algeria, Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Turkey, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. Nigeria's partnership status marks a significant step towards deeper involvement with BRICS, an organization initially formed by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and expanded in 2010 to include South Africa. The alliance seeks to strengthen trade, investment, security, and development cooperation among major emerging economies. Nigeria's inclusion as a partner country aligns with prior statements by Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga, who in November 2023 outlined Nigeria's aim to become a full BRICS member within the next 2 years highlighting the nation's economic strength and population as strategic advantages. Welcome back. Chad has denied accusations of fueling the war in Sudan by arming the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF), which have been fighting the Sudanese army for over a year. The allegation came from Sudan's Darfur governor Mini Minawi, a Khartoum government ally, who claimed Chad was supplying military equipment to RSF-controlled areas. Minawi said he had asked France to intervene and stop Chad's alleged involvement during a visit to Paris. Chad's government, however, rejected the claims. Foreign Minister Abderrahman Koulimala emphasized that Chad has no interest in exacerbating the conflict and has instead been impacted by it, hosting around 680,000 Sudanese refugees. Russian President Vladimir Putin hasn't ruled out the possibility of North Korean troops being deployed to Russia. This comes after the U.S. claimed to have evidence of Pyongyang moving soldiers for potential use in Ukraine. Putin made these comments at a press conference in Kazan, Russia, following the BRICS summit. He also mentioned that his relationship with the U.S. after the presidential elections will depend on Washington's attitude towards Russia.
Взаимоотношений с Корейской Народно-Демократической Республикой. Как вы знаете, сегодня, по-моему, только ратифицирован наш договор о стратегическом партнерстве. Там есть статья 4. И мы нисколько никогда не сомневались, что северокорейское руководство относится к нашим договоренностям серьезно. Но что и как мы будем делать, это уже наше дело. Мы готовы рассматривать любые варианты.
King Charles III has urged Commonwealth leaders to prioritize community and respect in their interactions. Speaking at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Apia, Samoa, the monarch acknowledged the lingering effects of colonialism and called for collective action to address these inequalities. He emphasized that while the past cannot be altered, its lessons can be learned from and used to create a more equitable future. The King's words come as he faces pressure to confront Britain's colonial legacy.
As we look around the world and consider its many deeply concerning challenges, let us choose within our Commonwealth family the language of community and respect, and reject the language of division. None of us can change the past, but we can commit with all our hearts to learning its lessons and to finding creative ways to right inequalities that
The Federal Executive Council, chaired by President Bola Tinubu, has approved the establishment of a Creative Economy Development Fund in a bid to support Nigeria's creative industry. Minister of Art, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, disclosed this following the Council's meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. She explained that the fund is designed as a special purpose vehicle to give creative industry professionals access to funding, allowing them to use the intellectual property as collateral to secure financing. Musawa also announced a significant boost for the fund, with Afrexim Bank committing $200 million to launch the initiative. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that his administration is committed to avoiding the mistakes of previous governments by prioritizing livestock farming and reducing dependency on dairy imports. Speaking at the opening of a two-day workshop on livestock reforms at the State House Conference Center in Abuja, Tinubu outlined plans for a comprehensive framework aimed at revitalizing the sector to boost job creation and attract foreign investment. The president praised the Presidential Livestock Reform Implementation Committee, chaired by Professor Atahiru Jega and Secretary Professor Muhammad Yahya Kuta, for their efforts in advancing the sector. Tinubu emphasized that Nigeria's shared goal is to transform livestock farming from a subsistence practice into a thriving commercialized industry. The Libya Football Federation is preparing to appeal the anticipated verdict from the Confederation of African Football (CAF) regarding the disputed Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match against Nigeria's Super Eagles earlier this month. Sources within CAF indicated that the verdict is expected this weekend. The federation plans to contest the decision if it rules against them. According to Libya Al Haral channel, the federation is committed to pursuing the matter further should the outcome be unfavorable. The final ruling will address the controversy surrounding the Libya-Nigeria match in the ongoing African qualifiers. Let's also tell you that Nigeria's first-choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali has been nominated for the 2024 CAF Goalkeeper of the Year award. He will compete against 9 other top goalkeepers, including South Africa's captain Ronwen Williams and Cameroon's Andre Onana, currently with Manchester United. Williams recently won the Best Goalkeeper award at the last Africa Cup of Nations AFCON held in Côte d'Ivoire, narrowly surpassing Nwabali. Their rivalry continues in the South African Premier Soccer League, where both excel for their clubs. Nwabali was instrumental in leading the Super Eagles to the final of the 2023 AFCON, while Williams guided South Africa's Bafana Bafana to a bronze medal finish. The 2024 CAF Award ceremony is set for December 16 in Marrakech, Morocco. And that's all the news we have for you for this hour. Before we go, a quick look at some of our top stories. Some of our top stories today on the news, we told you that President Bola Tinubu has directed the military to join the search and rescue mission following a helicopter crash in Port Harcourt. Vice President Kashim Shettima pulls out of Chongqing 2024 after plane incident. Nigeria, 12 other nations join BRICS as partner countries. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, on Star Times, channel 274. You can also stream on YouTube and also on Facebook. It's Hot Topics today, and the ladies will gather at 10 a.m. West African time here on News Central for Jasiri. Make sure you stick around and make sure you watch. I'm Joe Hanson. Good morning.